Hey guys, we are back again. It's your girl Jay, and I am so excited. I always say that I'm so excited, but it's genuinely true that I am so excited about our guest that we have today. But I was introduced to India, or as she goes by on social media, Miles from India. Introduced to her through our newest partnership through ARC. Shout out to Gina and her crew. She is a run coach for ARC, and we did our first cohort that just ended with ARC just a few weeks ago, and we have our second cohort launching in April. So today we'll chat with her for a few minutes to dive in to find out who is India and everything about Miles from India and her inspiration on the pavement. So India, welcome.
Yes. Hello. Hello. Thank you for having me.
No
And
problem. Good stuff. Good. And we see the race bibs in the back. I always say she has the greatest backdrop. Completely organized. I mean, yeah, you put my wall to shame because I just hang my rack up and keep it
listen,
moving.
it took me a while to get that. So
I
it took
love
me
it.
a
I
while to
love
get
it. I love it. So we'll talk about that a little bit, but first, let folks know who is India.
Yes. So, of course, I am an RRCA certified run coach. So, I do coach with ARC, but I also coach independently. I also am a podcast host of the Run Duo podcast. So, we do a podcast every other week, and it's all things running. So, you'll find out about my journey. We interview different people and different athletes that are doing amazing things in the community that we feel need the platform and deserve the platform. So, we want to be able to provide that to them. And I also am a YouTuber. So I have a YouTube called Miles from India, and I post a weekly YouTube giving tips, tricks, run with me's, come on to a race with me. Let's talk about some things. Let's talk about some taboo subjects that aren't usually talked about. And I truly enjoy it. Outside of that, I am here in Atlanta, like you said. I work full time in human resources, but a lot of the content creating, coaching, and everything is what I do on the side. And obviously, I am a runner and two-time marathoner and 16-time half marathoner. So the distances, it varies. So
Nice, nice. But let's kind of go back to the beginning before the two-time marathoner, before the 16-time half marathoner. What's been your health and fitness journey? What got you to the pavement?
yeah. So through high school, I did not do any running. I did it. I did do it the latter part of high school. I did the 400, the open four, the 4x4, but no distance. When my coach would tell me go run a mile, it was like, what? Who does that? I did not want to do that at all. So it transitioned back in 2008 when moved from being, I was a cheerleader at one point. I did a semi-pro cheerleading season, I call it. I did a season for semi-pro cheerleading, and I wanted to get into something that was community based, however independent, and running ended up being the thing. My dad did run back in the day, and I would go see him at races. So I said, well, let me try out running. So I did do some running here and there, 5Ks, sometimes in between. But I would just train for a race and I would fall off. So it's kind of one of those things where I said, at what point am I going to get committed and actually be about the run life? So I started like officially doing races in 2008. And then it kind of transitioned into me doing races. And then I connected and I said, let me find run groups in Atlanta. I did try BGR. I had some other run groups that I definitely did. And I just love the run group feel, like being able to go to a run group and have that push, people cheering you on, and just having that community and sense of like social life. Actually, like, it's, people underestimate how running is also social for people.
Absolutely.
So I was able to connect with that, and it kind of went off from there. So, you get a group of friends, they're doing marathons, they're doing half marathons, and you've done 5K, 10Ks, and then it becomes this positive peer pressure that you get. They're like, listen, why don't you come do this race? And it's
Right.
like, and now here I am. And it really turned into me wanting to get social, being social, into something with community. Also, of course, weight, of course, after high school and stuff, you start putting on the pounds. So running ended up being that, but it has just become this sense of community for me, sense of excitement, sense of like, it's my passion, it's something that I love. And in the process, I love seeing other people get into the sport and enjoy it. And that's why I do what I do.
That's awesome. So, that's almost, what's this, 2021? That's almost like 12, 13 years
Oh
ago.
my goodness.
And
Don't say
so
that,
I know
Danielle.
I always say, like, when I first started running, I started running in 2010. The What has evolved over the last decade in the sense of community, in the sense of social media, in the sense of fitness has really changed what running has looked like, especially for, Black and brown faces as well. So what pushed you to really go full throttle with running?
Yeah, I think it's a couple things. So the first thing is when I connected with the run group here in Atlanta, I was very involved and engaged, and I quickly moved into a captain position. And so it was kind of like, oh, I might have something here. So that was just kind of in the back of my mind.
Right.
And then the other thing that happened was in the process of me getting into running, I was always Googling and trying to find people that look like me, honestly. I was trying to find content that I could relate to. I was trying to find content that was not over my head, too many stats, too many run words that I wasn't familiar with. And so I said, what can I do to be that person that I was looking for when I started running? So that was another piece of it. And then the other part of it is when I did my first full marathon, I was just kind of on social media expressing that I was about to do a marathon. And I had a lot of people reaching out, kind of shocked that I was going to do it and wanted to hear more about my process. So I started to document that process back in 2017 when I did my first full. And I said, I think I'm onto something here. The fact that there's a lot of people asking, but I think they were more so asking more of a surprise of being an African American woman that's about to run all these miles. Like it, and of course they wanted to know education, but they also wanted to know the ins and outs, the highs and the lows, and I gave that to them. And it was initially something that was just on Facebook. It wasn't on YouTube, it was just on Facebook. And I said, you know what? I really enjoyed that. And I really feel like there is a niche of people that we're missing. We're missing the casual runners, right? Like we're missing our people that are couch to 5K or just trying to get into it or trying to transition to a half or a full. We're missing those transitional people or and the people that are running casually that also have a whole life and etc. A lot of times when you Google and go online, you're getting these people that are doing their pros and this is what they eat, drink, and sleep, and that's not the realisticness of the majority of runners out here,
Right.
right? And so for me, it's about showing the realness of that and then also showing the highs and the lows and then educating people as well, because I think sometimes when we've been in it for years, we can rattle off running words and terms and how to's because we have just done it, but we can't miss those people that are interested in coming into our community, into their sport of running, because they just don't know. And I think some people do get intimidated because there are people like me that can rattle it off, but they don't know where to even start. So I said, you know what, if I'm going to help my community and be who I wish I could have had when I first started, I got to bring it down some, and that's why I'm here.
Yeah, that's amazing to hear that story, how, you started running for yourself, but then you were looking for someone to look to. So you're like, well, I need to be that person for somebody else. So
Exactly.
it's really come full circle. What would you say overall that running has done for you?
It has changed me full circle. I am one of
Mm.
those people that running is something that is, I don't call it my therapy because I have a mental health background and see a therapist, right? Like there's certain things that you just need to go see a therapist. But it does allow me to debrief on my days, right? Like I'm one of those people that it allows me to debrief on my days. I think running has allowed me to have an outlet socially as well as confidence. My confidence just is different. It's a area of, and I won't say expertise, but it's an area that I know, that I'm
Mhm.
familiar with, that I'm comfortable with, that I can speak to it to you for hours. Like I can sit here and talk to you for hours about running.
Right.
It's just one of those things. I think when you as a person find something that you love, that you enjoy, but you can also speak to without questioning about it, that's your passion and that's what you should be doing. So for me, it definitely has increased my confidence, and it just fuels that piece too of me, that of helping society in my community. Like I always say, I want to give back to my community, but what can I do? I want to give back to my community. How can I do it? And running has been that catalyst that's done that. That's helped me to
Nice.
apply for that.
That's amazing. So amazing to hear. You're definitely an inspiration. Ultimately, what are you wanting to do? Where will India be in another 5, 10 years?
Woo, that's a big question.
It is. It is. It's always a very big question. Just, what does that vision board look like?
So the vision board looks like being further and more involved in the sport, the into running, the sport of running. So whether that be no longer doing my 9 to 5, and just really having a full time career in something in the running space, I could see myself doing that. Obviously, because I am doing run coaching and I do it independently, having more clients in that space. So whether that be with coaching of clients, whether it be motivational speaking, doing panels, doing things like we're doing today, I would love to have a career within that. And of course, be a wife and mom is coming. So engulfed in all of that stuff within the next 5 years. So however that pairs, I'm being honest, however that
Hey,
pairs.
I love it. I love it. You got to speak it into existence. I'm all
Exactly.
for it. Absolutely. Good stuff. So what's your health and fitness we're in a pandemic. Everything is crazy over the last year. What have been what are your health and fitness goals right now? Like are you training for something, or what is your running world look for you personally?
Yeah, so I'm not training for anything per se right now. I'm just all about let's get consistent. So I actually did a half marathon a couple weeks ago. Was not my best,
Mhm.
and ended up having some shin splint issues. So I'm currently today taking a couple weeks off to get myself back together so that I can hit the pavement again. But for me, during this pandemic, is really about consistency, because at the end of the day, if you're not consistent, it everything else kind of falls apart. So being consistent, it is time for me to PR in a half marathon coming up soon, meaning I don't know what soon is, whether that be the end of the year or the beginning of next year, but it's about that time. I haven't PR'd in a half since like 2016. So it's been too
Mm,
long. So
yeah,
for
yeah.
me, I'm like, okay, stop playing, put the work in and get this PR. So, but
Good.
life changes, our body changes, everything changes. So a lot of reasons as to why that hasn't happened, but my goal is to be able to do that soon.
Good. That's awesome. What's your favorite race?
The Peachtree Road Race here in
Okay.
Atlanta.
Okay,
Yeah,
gotcha.
between
So
that
what
one and the Atlanta Women's 5K that's also here in Atlanta, it's
okay.
something about having a 5K with all ladies. Like it's very empowering, very inspiring to see.
So what's your favorite race non-Atlanta, non-Georgia?
Non-Atlanta, non-Georgia. I will say my PR, which was in New York, actually. It was the
Okay.
Brooklyn Half. Yeah.
Nice,
So it
nice.
was
That's
the
another
Brooklyn.
sellout event too.
So literally the year that I registered, I think it was like the first couple minutes, it was sold out. Like it, and I know that it has changed since then, but it still is a very popular race. So yeah.
Absolutely. Good stuff. Well, good. Well, I am so excited to create this new run relationship with you, and see how we can collaborate, to see how we can use your resources to pour back into the BGR community. So for any woman that's running, watching right now, that's on the fence about should I go outside and start running or walking, what would India, the run coach, what would India, the runner from 2008, what would she say to that particular woman that's watching right now?
Yes, I would just say it's all about just starting. Lace up the shoes, step outside, whether it is a fast walk, a jog, whatever it is, just get started. Listen, if you do 2 steps, you are running and you are a runner. I tell people all the time, they're like, well, I'm not a runner. It's like if you did just a little bit, you are a runner. It doesn't matter how far you went. If you went to the trash can that's on the curb in front of your mailbox, like you are a runner. So I tell people do that and just celebrate every step, every stride, every mile that you're in. And what I mean by that is celebrate every piece of movement that you do, and that will help to kind of generate some positiveness into your mind. So you can do it. Definitely reach out to me if y'all have any questions or just need some motivation to get out and about. You can do it. It's all about, literally, it's all about starting and just getting up, and don't focus on your pace and your time and your distance. It's about starting, and then all of that stuff will come. I think sometimes we get focused on looking at people's social and how fast they're going, and they did 5-10 miles just as a random day. When you focus on those things, that pulls you out of even wanting to try because you're concerned about what you can do. Don't focus on those things. It's your journey. It's your journey.
Exactly. Those are some great parting words. Well, BGI Nation, definitely get familiar with this space. We will definitely be putting India to work. So super excited again, just to forge this new relationship. And we appreciate you being here today and talking all things Miles from India, and everything that you have going on in Atlanta. And we look forward to everything that will come for you and speaking all of those things in existence.
Yes. Thank you so much, Dale.
No
Thank you for having
problem.
me, ladies.
Thank you, BGI Nation. We will see you next week. Have a great one.